All right. Cody here with Creation Outdoors, starting this hunt from the truck because it is crazy windy outside. Today is November 12th. We got a big cold front coming in, and with that cold front, it's like 25, 30 mile an hour sustained winds, gusts up to 50 where I'm at, and snowing hair. But although it's pretty woolly out there, we're going to give it a go. We're going to work into this piece of public. Again, another new piece, and I plan to sit from the ground, and I think there's going to be enough wind cover to cover me, and I think we'll be okay. And I don't really feel like getting in a tree with 50 mile an hour gusts. It's a little bit much for me. So we're going to try it from the ground. We've had some dud hunts recently, and that's okay. That's how it goes on public land. But today I'm going to work up this little ridge. There's a lot of deer tracks on this road, and work up this ridge toward this ag on top, and hopefully I'm going to be downfield of that ag and some of the thicker stuff on the edge, and hopefully we can catch a buck cruising. So I'm going to get bundled up, and once I'm marshmallow, I'm going to try and work my way very slowly up this ridge and see what we can see. I don't know how much talking there's going to be today just because of the audio with the wind, but we're going to do our best. So come along, we'll see what we can get. It's a lot calmer up here than I thought. The wind's not as steady as I thought, of course, but a couple old rubs and trails. This is a bed that's been used since it started snowing. I mean, there's no snow in it. So there's a chance that when I was getting ready at the parking lot, this deer, whatever it was, bedded here by itself, was listening and moved off. So we're seeing some deer sign, which is good. We're just gonna keep moving our way, see if we can find anything fresher up towards this ag on top. Just right here. There's a buck, had a lockdown with the doe, had her pushed up against all this deadfall here on this finger ridge. I don't think it was something I would have shot, but I got 15 yards from them, and they were just over the knoll and in this brush enough where I didn't see him until I was on top of him. Bumped him out. Yeah, buck locked down with the doe, November 12th. That's how that goes. So I hope that's as obvious as what it looks to me. That's the one bed. Don't know if it was the buck or doe. I think that was the buck. Right there, tucked away, just as kind of figured. So I don't think they smelled me. I don't think they really saw me, and that's okay. And they pushed off towards this ag the way that I'm going. So I'm just gonna push up here and pick a spot, I guess. There's good trails in here. Nothing in terms of crazy sign, but I mean, obviously there was a hot doe in here, and if we can get something else trying to come in here with maybe another doe or a different buck, we'll see. Okay, so I picked a spot to set up, and I'm actually pretty happy about this. I moved forward about 75 yards from where I jumped that buck and the doe. And there's this shelf here. So I'm on this ridge that's coming down kind of towards where I parked, and I walked up that ridge, bumped that buck and doe, and now we have this pretty expansive shelf where there's not much change. There's a few oaks, but decently high stem count, underbrush, and there's trails working their way through it. I found a pretty fresh route back, kind of by where that buck and doe were bedded down. And essentially I'm just gonna sit and hopefully something works its way kind of across this ridge where I can call to it, or down this ridge, with a doe. It might be a little bit more of a morning spot, but that's how it is. Again, it's pretty windy, but the wind's pretty consistent in my favor, and I've got a great natural cover right in front of me here that I'm pretty excited about. So set up, kind of scraped out an area, and we're gonna hang on and fingers crossed. I feel pretty optimistic about it overall, so we'll see what happens. And if nothing happens tonight, I may have to come in here another morning in the near future just to see what happens. But we're gonna sit tight, get some ranges of things, and see if we can get something to come in. There's a buck coming. Dang it, I'm so mad at myself. I didn't get any footage of that because he was probably 40 yards away when I first saw him. Small, decent, but small 8-point. And I turned the camera on, but I never got the record pushed, so he was 5 yards. That hot doe must have followed a trail. He came 5 yards and then he got downwind of me and then just moved off. But I don't think he's still right there. He's still right there. Was way exciting. So I got interrupted because he had bounded off. He was still right there, but that doe that I bumped with that other buck must have followed this path right down this ridge as I anticipated they did. And he had his nose to the ground like a dog and followed that trail, and he ended up 4 or 5 yards away from me. Just a little bit small for what I wanted. And was, like I said, nose to the ground. And he went past me. It was probably 12 yards, kind of behind me, and smelled me. So he kind of bounded off just to about maybe 40, 50 yards away. Didn't really know what was going on, and he knew that there was a hot dog around here that he wanted. So he stood there for a while and then just walked off. But I forgot and neglected to hit record when he first came past, just because he was like all of a sudden 40 yards away. But I did get some footage of him standing over there, so way early. I mean, we have like 3.5 hours until dark, so all we need is one twice as big as him to do the same thing, and we'll be in business, man. That gets you fired up right there. It really does. They're chasing November 12th, Iowa. Looking good. Just a doe on a fawn. I kind of came back through making a loop and went back down. I don't know if she caught movement or smelled me or whatever. But so far they haven't blown or spooked too much. So they kind of came from a direction I didn't anticipate, which is informative. But they seem to be working the other direction, so no bucks behind him. It's so windy that the noise doesn't travel too far, so I gotta keep my optimism high that she didn't screw it up too much. Well, we got close tonight. It kinda ended up being a little bit of a bump and dump type setup. Not necessarily in the conventional sense where I caught anything coming back to bed, but the bed indicated strongly about where to set up. But I feel pretty positive that I finally found some deer, a couple bucks. That one buck read the script, just not quite what we're looking for, so if the wind was the same tomorrow morning, I'd be right back in here, but we're gonna have to explore around a little bit before coming back, I think. Plus let this cool off a little bit because it caused a little bit of a disturbance with some of the deer. But anticipation is high moving forward, so pretty good night tonight. We're gonna keep at it over the next couple days, and high anticipation. So if you want to keep watching the saga of my first year in Iowa, think about subscribing, as that way you won't miss anything and you'll be able to tag along for the rest of my hunts this year, just to see if I can find anything. So until the next one, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. We got a shooter buck coming.